Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Ratner. Today I have on Ron, one of the patients who worked with me and got better from neuropathy and other pains, and his recovery was really inspiring, so here comes his story. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like, and put your comments below. Ron, I'm so excited to have you here. This is particularly exciting for me because you and I just finished up our fourth session of my 4-session consultations, and I think you would agree it was a great success, and I'm very excited to hear your take on it. But welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Dan.
So let's first talk about how you discovered me. You heard about me on, I believe, the Curable podcast,
That's
Hope for
correct.
Healing.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What led you to reach out to me?
I think it was your definitiveness in saying this works, and also the fact that I felt that my biggest thing is doubt, that I was doubting that I could get over the neuropathy and the fibromyalgia, even though I'd cured my back pain, that I could get over that. I just doubted it, and it was a huge doubt. And when you said that's your biggest area that you concentrate, I said, this is the guy for me. He can.
Yeah, so I just want to highlight this. You had discovered Sarno before, and you had used Sarno to cure your back pain. When was that, Ron?
Oh boy, that was I'm going to say around 2016 was
Okay,
about the time I
so
retired.
but it's one of the great things that I want to highlight. So that's interesting. It happened around the time you retired. Maybe it had something to do with that. It's
Could
funny
be.
because you and I didn't even get into that so much. We more were dealing with the fact that you had used Sarno to good effect, and you knew you had doubt. So let's talk about what our process was like. So we have had 4 sessions over 4 weeks.
Right.
And one of the things I love about this is that I've been doing therapy for over 20 years, but I feel a deep connection with people who I do these kinds of consultations with because we go so fast and we go so deep into things, and we it's just a profound experience, I find. So let's remember the first session. We talked all about the emotions column. And can you speak to what was the thing that jumps out at you about that first session?
Oh, I still the emotion column still gives me an emotion, and just what we thought about the experience that I had, because I was pretty walled off to my emotions, especially as a kid. And the thing, you got right in, and it was almost immediate. To me, it would happen like within the first 10 minutes that we were working on that.
It
Is
did. It was very quick.
Yeah, and I just had this strongest emotion about um, my mother, and just some of her experiences that she had when she was a kid. And then you elucidated on that, saying that was an indicator of me being empathetic toward her situation, because she had a pretty tough life
Mm-hmm.
when
Do you
she
know
was.
what was it that I did that helped us settle in there? If you
I
even know.
I don't know, because it just happened. You were talking about it, and it welled up that this is what I need to talk about. You
I
drew
so I
something
just
out.
wanted.
I wish I knew what it was, but I don't.
Well, let me try. I'll say what I think happened, and then you can say whether you think this feels right. One of the reasons that people tend to get very good results with me in the emotions column, let alone the others, is that I understand TMS well. So you started telling me about your life. And it's like your body and the symptoms and understanding the symptoms just led me to these themes. And so when I said the themes, I think it just happened to be right on. And it suddenly hit
That's
you.
That's exactly it. And this, it's just, it is. It's your you tuned into my emotions when I couldn't tune into my emotions. I think that was the
Well, it's
biggest thing.
yeah, and that's really the purpose of the first session, one way or another. Even with people who are very attuned to their feelings or not, we want to get to the heart of the matter, and I think that we did. We got to the fact that you were feeling a lot of those symptoms in relation to regretting not having known your mom in the way that you would have most wanted to.
Yes, that's right. Yep, absolutely.
So then, when you came back for the second session, we started talking about doubt. And another theme emerged. You called yourself a doubting Thomas.
The
People
king
know
of
that
doubting
phrase.
promises.
Yeah. So you came to me about doubt. We knew doubt would be a big deal. You think of yourself as a doubting Thomas. Now, amazingly, at the end of this session, actually, it was the third session when you first came back for the third session after the doubt session, you basically said that you had hit on a major thing, which had changed. I don't know if it had changed your doubt as fully as we got to in this fourth session, but can you talk about the neuropathy? What was the symptom you were having, and then how did it get resolved?
Yes, I made a connection that my neuropathy started. Let's see, it'd be about 2008 or so.
Right, and I asked you about the timing, and that's when
right, and it had
you got to
and
this.
what I realized is that the timing was such that I was the head of our local church group, and it's called the bishop, and I had, when I got that calling, we're just a lay ministry, so I was just another parishioner, if you would, and all of a sudden I was thrust into this role of being the head of the congregation, and just that's when the neuropathy built, and by the time I ended, I was there for 5 years doing that, and by the time that ended, my neuropathy was really bad. I mean, it got really bad. And I didn't realize that at the time. I just realized it when we were having our session.
Right, because I was just going over the rules and the rules of how I understand TMS to work, and you were like, wait a minute. You made that connection. Now, interestingly, you made that connection in between sessions. I wasn't even there with you, but I had laid out the rules. You had been thinking about it, as I recall.
Yep.
And you came back in that third session. Yeah.
I think all of it, except for the emotions in the first session, my progress has been between sessions, and the sessions cement it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it seems like I give you the information, and then you go and you make these great things.
Yeah.
So tell me if I have it right, but I'm pretty sure I do. You came back for the third session. You said, this is pretty amazing, but I had this breakthrough. You told me about, being appointed bishop and realizing there was the timing of that. And then your neuropathy had gone down significantly. Is that correct?
Well, the neuropathy just stayed there. But when we made that connection, the neuropathy, it was when we made the connection that it went away.
It was right. Okay, so
10 years, right?
That's right. You came back with a thought, and then we made the connection, and then it went down. And then it went down. I mean, you had it for over 10 years.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons I love doing the work.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying that it's totally gone right now, but it is down to the point where I minimize the medications that I'm taking. I just don't think about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think you really understand it. So then we came in and on the third session, we talked about power. And power was led to another shift. And in fact, it seemed that power was the thing that ultimately led you to conquer your doubt, if I'm understanding correctly from what you told me. So can you just talk to what it was like to talk about power or how that changed you?
Yeah, it's probably going to kind of mess them up, but you can't do one without the other, I don't think. And it's the process versus the result. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the idea that I'm myself a powerful person, and that I can it's a process of me understanding that, not an end result that, oh, I am a powerful person, I'm becoming a powerful person, so I am a powerful person, if that makes any sense. But it makes
Absolutely.
sense
And
to
you and
me.
I, yeah, well, hey, that's the main thing that matters. But I think that you and I talked about how process oriented thinking matters, and so does results oriented thinking. This is something I said to you. And this
Yes,
happened, by the way, half an hour ago. One of the fun things about this, we were just talking about this.
that's right.
I was talking about how people go to therapy for years and years and years, and in a way, it's not fair to them because that's all process oriented thinking. It doesn't focus on, but are we getting results? And you're an engineer, and I have a little bit of engineer in me, as we joked about.
Yes,
And I like to get results. But if you're focused too much on results, you lose the process. And if you're focused too much on the process, you can lose results. So we found our way, and I want to talk about one last thing, which is that, I mean, I'm so struck by this. You called yourself a doubting Thomas in session 2, and then today, take me through that experience that you had
uh,
a couple days ago.
so I guess I have to go back in like 1990. I broke my neck. I fell off the roof of my house and broke my neck, and there was a lot of pain involved, as you can imagine, with that. It was, just the whole physical aspect of my body hitting the ground. Well, I was in bed sleeping the night before last, and I rolled. I spent like a good part of the night probably on my left side, and I woke up, and my left side just felt like I'd fallen off the roof of my house all over
Mm-hmm.
again. And
Mm-hmm.
and I rolled over and realized it woke me up to the extent that I said, "This isn't real. I'm sleeping in my bed. I'm not laying on the ground, having
Mm-hmm.
fallen 15 feet to the ground. I'm fine." And
Right.
the pain went away. And there's no doubt in my mind. Before we came into before I had that experience, I was pretty well cemented in with doubt I didn't have a doubt, but that's cemented that I do not have a doubt any longer. That
Right.
yes,
So we went through the action steps that I've developed. I have a PDF, with over 100 action steps, probably over 120. And we were looking at doubt and saying, what's still here? And you said there's nothing. And so for you to be a doubting Thomas in session 2 and then at session 4 feel like there was no doubt, it was so gratifying for me, especially given that I do a podcast called Crushing Doubt. We really had done that. And so in 4 sessions, we have significantly reduced your pain. We got you a really key emotional insight that sets you on your way. We have changed your doubt process. And then the last thing I want to finish up on is you were saying how powerful you've come to feel in this short amount of time. And obviously, a lot of that comes from the connection we have been able to develop, which is so wonderful. You wrote some things about being
yes,
powerful, about who you are.
I did.
And if you could share them with us, it would be amazing.
If I can just pull them up here. This is I wrote yesterday actually. This is a sense of self, who I am or who am I, and I wrote, I am happy, I am loving, I like I like who I am, I like who I will become, I care for myself, I feel positive about myself, I am a child of God, I control how I feel, I am powerful. I am okay being angry. I am pain free. I give myself a break.
It's so wonderful to hear that because, as is true with many people who are suffering pain, when you first came in, it was just very hard. You didn't have a sense that it was going to get better. You were full of doubts. And this is somebody who has used Sarno before. So it's really, I just wanted to thank you for coming in and showing what we did together. And I'm so pleased that you're doing better. So thank you for coming on, Ron. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you having me on and being able to share my story. There's so many more things to say.
We'll have to have you back on.
Thank you.
Okay. So one of the things I was most struck by in Ron's recovery is how much progress he made each time. When he and I first met, he called himself a doubting Thomas. That's the expression for someone who doubts everything. And ironically, I thought that was actually a strength because he is someone who was in touch with his doubts. Now that helps. Usually I have to help people get those doubts articulated. I wasn't going to need to with him. And that did actually pay off. So we made breakthroughs in all of the three major columns. In the emotions column, we got him in touch with some emotion in the very first session. And in the second session, when we started talking about doubt, we had big breakthroughs there as well. And a lot of that credit goes to him and how he thought about things and how he worked in between sessions, which isn't to say that people who aren't getting better fast aren't working. But he made a lot of progress because he really was able to understand the concepts. And he took it to heart and thought about it, and he got to a new level each time. And each time, this happens sometimes. I can even be surprised at how fast it sometimes can work when people really take to it well. When he got to the power aspect of things, that was when we had a huge breakthrough. And each time he had a breakthrough, the symptoms went down. So I thought this was a very helpful illustration of how the work goes, somewhat in an ideal way. This one was a particularly ideal one, but exciting to see these changes. And if they don't happen this fast for you, don't worry about it, because this is more about what happens, not how fast it happens. These are ideas of how to make this work. So I was excited to show it to you all, and I hope that you got a lot out of it and enjoyed it. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. I will answer you directly, and I appreciate all of you watching.